Hello people. This video's not going to make any friends, that's for sure. But I think it's time you should know. Most of the people out there are under the illusion that the police are there for your protection. Well, it's quite the contrary. Police are there to enforce the law and control everyone. Back in the old days, let's say we'll go all the way back to World War I and even possibly back to the Civil War. It's not commonly known, but a lot of people didn't fire their weapons during the war. They never did. Some of them even shot themselves in the foot so that they wouldn't have to shoot nobody. And back in them days, they used to train people with a round circular target. Now, in order to get more people to fire, they found it was a lot better to train you on a silhouette, a black silhouette, to get you desensitized to shooting a human being. That's what this target is. And as a police officer, you're taught to shoot for center mass and unload your firearm. Because if you shoot for center mass, it causes all that blood to rush away from your brain real fast and disorients you, put a man down real quick. I'm an ex-police officer. Several different reasons why I left. Mostly because of the corruption. One of the other reasons I left was financial, because I couldn't afford to pay for my own training, which won't get into all that either. That's just a long story. But the biggest reason I left was because I'm not a hypocrite. Whatever the law is good for you should be good for the officer as well. The job's supposedly to serve and protect. Well, even in the academy they teach you that you're not there to protect nobody. You're there to serve the community and uphold the laws. Individual protection is just that. It's up to the individual. So with that said, you got to have your own firearm. You got to know how to use it. You got to have you some sort of safety plan. Something to tell you when to get out. And something to keep your family safe. Because the police ain't always there when you want them. You can call them. But the average Joe knows that the police are at least 20 to 30 minutes away. At any given time. Unless you get lucky and one's in your neighborhood. Anyway, the point of making this video is not to bash the cops, because there used to be one. But I didn't like the hypocrisy. I didn't like the way that things were going down towards people. In the police academy, they teach you techniques on how to create pain, how to cause somebody to submit, pressure points, and so on. We also had to train on our fellow cadets, fellow students, whatever you want to call them. We had to train on how to restrain people with handcuffs and how to use pepper spray. This stuff right here is 5.2 million Scoville units. You definitely aren't going to make any friends doing this. Correction, it's 5.3 million Scoville units. We also had to get a dose of this by our fellow classmates so that we could see what it was like, so that we know that if we actually got hit by it in the process of spraying it on an assailant, a suspect, that we could survive and still keep going. There's a whole lot of stuff. I could go on forever. It's the PR-24 police baton. Sure, you've probably seen a few police officers carrying those around. They're pretty heavy. You can do a lot of damage with them. Something as simple as this 3-cell flashlight. Do a lot of damage. Point of all that is police officers aren't there to be your buddy. They're there to serve and protect, uphold the laws, no matter who's making the laws. And with that said, you got to be really careful about who you put into office. You know, those folks you put in office, they're just people. Some of them people need to pay their bills, and some of them people take bribes, and some of them people are hardcore liberals that want the world a certain way, and they're under the impression that if you take away all of these, you're going to have safety. The problem with that is, like we said earlier, safety is 20 minutes away. Unless you're lucky and you have a police officer right there next to you. The criminal, he's not going to wait 20 minutes to break into your house. He's not going to wait 20 minutes to kill you or your family. He's there for a purpose. He's there to get what he came for. And regardless of that, he's going to get it. And so if it takes 10 to 15 minutes for the cops to get there, then he knows he's got to be in and out in 5 to 10 minutes. So that he can be on down the road with his new loot, his ill-gotten gains. Now I know there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in the Bible. There's a lot of people out there that don't even believe in God, period. There's a lot of people out there that don't like Alex Jones for all the things that he says, or any of the other conservative talk show guys that are trying to point out corruption. There's my bug out bag. I've had a bug out bag since 1996. Sucks being one of the people in this world who's heard all the conspiracy theories and have seen all the corruption. I know a lot. When I was a police officer, I got in for honorable intentions and I got out for the same. I didn't get in to abuse people like some of these videos that I've seen. I didn't get in there to wear a heavy badge or for my head to swell up. And those officers who are out there doing that, those are criminals. They're criminals under the guise of law. They're wearing a badge, calling themselves police officers. They're not police officers. They're criminals. Not every police officer out there is corrupt. But the ones who ain't corrupt are few and far in between. Because you can be a good cop in a corrupt system, and I have an old saying. You can't walk through a cesspool and come out the other side smelling like a rose. And so you may do something that's minor to you, but it's still illegal by accident or however whatever choice you make. And that choice will domino on you because now you have to cover that up, and you'll have a buddy, maybe another police officer, is going to help you cover it up. And in the process of covering that up, you owe him now. You got to cover up his cover-ups. And where does it stop? Even if it's something as simple as jaywalking. If I get in a police car and I chase you down and I write you a citation for speeding, and then I get off of work and I get in my own personal car and I speed, that makes me a hypocrite. This is going to have to probably be a two-part video. I wanted to show you something here. Don't know if you can see that very well. When I was in 6th grade, there used to be a program called Safety Patrol. That was back when I decided I wanted to be a police officer. I was a school safety patrol. Basically, your job was to make sure that kids crossed at the crosswalk and stayed safe. And it was then that I decided that I wanted to become a police officer. I wanted to serve and protect, to be that hero that goes out and protects people. I did unarmed security. I did armed security. And I never thought that I'd ever become a police officer, but it was a pretty amazing thing when I did, and I was proud. A whole lot of things went down in my life, and I've seen a whole lot of things that no man should ever have to see. No woman, no child should ever have to see. I was a good police officer. I was honest. I never disrespected nobody. And I tried to uphold the law for myself just as much as I would for the other people out there. The law clearly states if you're speeding in a police car, you have to have your lights and siren activated. It's for public safety. Otherwise, you're breaking the law. And I know that each and every one of you's seen a police officer flip his lights on, go through a light, and then get down the road a little ways and shut his lights off. Or you've seen a police officer speeding down the road, and you know it makes you angry. Because if that was you, you'd get a ticket. Just for a second, I want to go back to this right here. I've had this sprayed on me, in my eyes, in my mouth, and I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. To me, this would be a last resort. This stuff will damage your eyes. Don't care what any doctor tells you. I don't care what any police officer tells you. It will damage your eyes. It will burn your eyes. That's 5.3 million Schofield units. Okay, I want you to stay tuned for part 2. Hopefully I haven't lost you yet. Well, I checked my time and I got at least a minute or so before I hit my 15-minute mark. Anyway, I really hope you stay tuned for part 2. So maybe I can clear a few things up for you. Thanks.